Tips with Tony. Tips with Tony. All about nutrition from your favorite dietitian. Everything you need to digest in your mind. Tips with Tony. Tips with Tony. Making you healthier one bite at a time. With Tony. Woo.
Hello and welcome to the Tips with Tony podcast. I'm Tony Marinucci, your registered dietitian, helping you get healthy one bite at a time. We are going to talk about the difference between HelloFresh and Green Chef today, but before we do that, I just need to say thank you so much for your outpour of support by purchasing the Once Upon a Diet book. And if you have not purchased it yet and you're listening to this and you didn't hear, it is now available. I've been working on this project for nearly 2 years and I can't believe it's out in the universe. And honestly, so far the feedback has been beyond incredible. It really makes my heart smile. I'm overjoyed because it's not easy. Writing a book was not easy. It really was one of the hardest things I've ever done. And everybody telling me that they can relate, telling me that it was a quick read, telling me that they're making small changes, that it really influenced them and impacted them in a positive way. Like those comments, that feedback makes those grueling hours so worth it. And I'm so glad that this book is out in the universe. So Once Upon a Diet, it is now available on Amazon. There's the link available in the show notes. It is available on Kindle as well as the paperback. The audiobook is in review. So I'm hoping by the time you listen to this, it'll be good to go. Although more likely, they said 10 business days. So sometimes it happens sooner. But I submitted it, I want to say Friday morning. I'm recording this, it's Sunday, October 10th, so a couple of days ago. So hopefully, let's say by the 20th, definitely, probably by the 15th. So I don't know when you're listening to this, but the audiobook will be available soon. And obviously, if you stay up to date with these episodes, I will definitely let you know when it is 100% available. Also, if you're on the email list, then you'll get notified as well because I will be announcing it on the email list as well. So that's all I wanted to say about that. Thank you so much. Now let's get into today's episode where we're going to talk about the difference between HelloFresh and Green Chef. So I'm not sure if you're familiar with them. And I also hope that, I just realized that I know I have listeners from all over. So this is predominantly, I want to say, for the United States, anybody who lives in the US. Green Chef and HelloFresh are basically meal delivery services, but you prepare the meal. So I'm not sure if you're familiar with Blue Apron, but Blue Apron came out many years ago, and it was this idea that they send you the ingredients and you prepare it almost like you would if you were, instead of like a dish you would get at a restaurant, you would prepare it at home. And it's obviously save you a little bit of money compared to going out to a restaurant. But the best part about the whole service was that it gave you step-by-step instructions and kind of had you work with ingredients that you probably would have never purchased or known what to do with it. Or especially if you're like a family of 1 or 2 or maybe 3, like you might not buy a whole entire bunch of like cilantro, for example, but the box will come with like just enough for the recipe. So the concept of Blue Apron, I want to say where they were kind of like the beginning of this. It's awesome. The thing is though, Blue Apron, those food choices were usually like really heavy and like oils and creams and sauces. And you guys know there's nothing wrong with that, especially in a balanced diet. However, if you're kind of having it on a regular basis, 2 to 3 to 4 to 5 times a week, then, it's probably better than what they're preparing in a restaurant. But it's also, probably not the most nutritious option. A lot of them didn't lack, they maybe didn't come with enough vegetables. But it's still great to have something on hand. You don't have to think. It gets you in the kitchen, especially if you're new to cooking. These meal kits boxes are incredible. So with that said, that was like many years ago. And then other sort of meal kit delivery services have come out. And HelloFresh and Green Chef are kind of like a spin off of Blue Apron, but just more nutritious ingredients. And so today I want to kind of talk about the differences. They're not that different, but there are slight differences. And I know I titled this podcast, Which is Best, ultimately, it's the one that fits best for your financial situation. It's the one that fits best for your food preferences. It's the one that fits best for your taste buds. So that's the one that's best. But with that said, I'm going to give you kind of like I don't want to even call them pros and cons, but like certain characteristics that might make you want to go more towards Green Chef versus certain characteristics that might want you to go towards HelloFresh. And it really comes down to your personal preferences. For a while, I was kind of doing both. Now I kind of switch off. It's really awesome when you don't feel like cooking or you don't know what to cook or you're kind of just like, or if you want to go, you want to go to a restaurant, but maybe you don't want to spend a ton of money. Obviously like the meal kits are going to be more affordable. It's like a nice, most of the meal kits I would say make about, two servings. I know you can change it up, but basically you get like, so if you ordered, like a chicken dish, you would get like, one, I think, that's the other question. I think, you would get 2 chicken breasts and then you would get the vegetable ingredients and like maybe some rice or whatever. And the serving size is for 2 people, which with both, I would say with Green Chef, HelloFresh, even Blue Apron, it can be a little bit disheartening when you see that the serving size is for 2 people and then you read maybe like the calories or like what's in it and then you almost like don't feel full. That's because a lot of these recipes, whether it's HelloFresh or Green Chef or Blue Apron, they might require, lots of like butter or oil to kind of get that flavor up. Even sodium, you'll notice the sodium will be high. And those things though are modifiable. So I remember back in the day when I used to use Blue Apron, I didn't use it for long because I didn't really care for it too much, but when I did use it, I noticed like it would call for like more salt and more butter, like almost after like every single step. And I just like didn't find it necessary because you could always add that stuff in later. And don't get me wrong, a little bit of butter and like oil, of course it's delicious, but especially if you're on like a weight management plan or just in general, even just for general heart health, we don't want to have like tons of butter in our food. So it's just, there's different ways to modify it. So, with that said, I kind of wanted to share with you about some of the options we have with like Green Chef and HelloFresh. So with Green Chef, they basically have you choose from 3 different categories: balanced living, plant power, and keto and paleo. So I'm going to just talk about my personal experience because that's always best and easiest for me, but this doesn't mean this is reflective of what you eat and how you live. But I actually have a gluten sensitivity, so I avoid eating gluten. Now, because of that, as much as the balanced living like caught my eye and I really wanted that, I noticed that a lot of them had lots of like pastas or even things like farro, which is a really nutritious grain, but it has gluten in it. There were certain components to it that it wasn't always necessarily gluten-free. So in that sense, it was like I kept finding I had to keep swapping out the recipes and not really like being very excited about it. So I actually went with like the keto and paleo, as much as I disagree with the fact that paleo is like no grains. So, but I know with that, it's no grains means that there's no going to be any gluten in it. And then the keto part of it is no carbohydrates. So gluten is found in things with carbohydrate that are carbohydrates. So they keep that gluten free. So I knew for me I could do that. But now with that said, now when I get the meal kit, it's usually a protein and a vegetable, but there's not a starch. So I often need to add to it. Otherwise, it doesn't really make me feel full and it doesn't really feel like a full meal. But with that said, it's still really great to know that if I already had, I made myself some rice or like a chickpea pasta or some sweet potato, it's pretty awesome that I can just pair that with my meal kit that I whip together. And I will say both HelloFresh and Green Chef, the recipe are very easy step-by-step instructions, very easy to follow, and everything's pre-portioned. So the most you really are doing is chopping, and even sometimes the things come pre-chopped for you. So that's really all it is. You're chopping things up, adding even the sauces or even vinegar, stuff like that is already pre-portioned. Even the seasoning's pre-portioned. So especially if it comes with a seasoning that you rarely ever use, or maybe you've been afraid to use, so something maybe you are curious of how do you cook with curry, or do you like curry, and maybe you've never cooked with it before, but now you use a dish that uses it and you're like, oh, I actually like it, and now that becomes a staple for you. The other great thing about these kits is you can keep the recipes on hand, and you actually, you could do, like I said, the meal kits I like because of the fact that sometimes if you didn't get to the grocery store, they come in real clutch. So it's kind of nice because you can get them weekly, you can get them bi-weekly, you can get it monthly. You can just dictate how often you want to get it delivered and shipped to you. But I know for sure that whenever it's in my fridge and I didn't get a chance to go to the grocery store, I'm like, oh, thank God, I have something I can whip together. So there's really great. And then also, that's like really great. And then you can also, there was one, I'm pretty sure it's a HelloFresh recipe, the Firecracker Meatballs. They're amazing. And so like I've never considered making meatballs with like ginger, and the recipe, it calls for, I'm pretty sure it's like lean ground beef, fresh ginger, soy sauce, and for me, I use the gluten-free soy sauce. So that's another reason why sometimes it inspires me to make a dish for Bruce, my boyfriend, but he's not necessarily gluten-free, so he can have things like breadcrumbs and stuff that comes with some of those options, whereas like I can't. But what it does for me is it inspires me to think of a new recipe where then I just get gluten-free breadcrumbs, or I get gluten-free soy sauce, and now I keep that recipe on hand, and now I make it where I don't necessarily have to have the kit with me. All right, so I know I kind of jump when I chat, so I just want to go back to the 3 categories for Green Chef. So the 3 categories for Green Chef are balanced living, plant power, keto, and paleo. So the other thing I could do, now that I'm thinking about it, is I could do, I think for me it's a little bit hard because plant power could also be, it could also be a lot of gluten-free, not gluten-free grains that contain gluten in them. But the other thing, like with plant power, is obviously it's going to be lots of vegetables, which is great. So then if you're not someone who, so maybe if someone in your family is vegetarian, you can get that for them, and then you just prepare the meat, something like that. So that's also a really good option as well. I will say with Green Chef, and I guess it may be because for me, I do the keto and paleo, so therefore it's usually just a protein and lots of veggies. I find that the Green Chef boxes, the vegetable like portion, it's like a decent portion, whereas with like HelloFresh, it kind of like comes with veggies or like has some veggies, but it doesn't really feel like the star of the dish. So I often find myself making something, but then maybe having like, making myself a salad on the side, which is totally fine, or getting like frozen veggies or making my own vegetables and kind of adding it to it. So it's, like I said, it's sometimes when you get those kits, they truly are a full balanced meal and you feel really satisfied. And then other times you kind of have to experiment and play with it. I'll also say that there's many times where I actually haven't followed the recipe and I've just taken the ingredients and kind of got funky in the kitchen, explored, experimented, and actually really enjoyed that process. And stuff came out pretty good. Just before the scallions, I was making a kit, one of the kits, but it came with scallions, but the scallions actually went bad, and I actually didn't have any onion in my fridge, hence why I need to go to the grocery store. But I was like, oh great, I have this meal kit, and there's so many veggies in here, and I have some chicken, I have some pork, like I could throw something together. But I didn't have any onion, and the scallions went bad. So I used garlic. And then, the recipe was originally like a cabbage slaw with some onion, and it was like made cold, and then plus like carrots with a little bit of honey and those scallions, and I think some crushed almonds, I want to say, or crushed cashews, which sounds amazing, by the way. Is your mouth watering? Mine is. I didn't get to taste it yet. It's just been prepared. I'm going to have it after this, after I record this. But, I ended up just throwing all that stuff together, like the cabbage, and I ended up using garlic instead of scallions. So I didn't have scallions and I didn't have onion, so I used garlic, and honestly, I haven't tasted it yet, but my guess is that it's pretty darn good. So I'm excited to try that out. So the other great part about Green Chef, and I don't want to say great as in it, honestly, there's really no nutritional difference between something that's organic or non-organic, but Green Chef, everything is organic. So if you are somebody who prefers to purchase organic foods, then you're going to get that. Now, with that said, because it's USDA organic, it is more expensive than the HelloFresh boxes. I can't remember. I don't know, because you can get, like I said, you can get like 2 meals a week, 3 meals a week, 4 meals a week. I think you can get upwards of 5 if you wanted to. Obviously, the more you get, the cheaper per se it is per meal. But with that said, in general, and you do the comparison, Green Chef tends to be a little bit more than HelloFresh just because it has that organic stamp. All right. Now, with that said, in the show notes, you will notice that I actually gave you guys, if it's your first time ever using Green Chef or your first time ever using HelloFresh, you have to be a first time user of either one. So maybe you've been using Green Chef and you're like, hey, I want to try HelloFresh. I gave you guys a discount code. So in the show notes, you'll see that for HelloFresh, for Green Chef, you can get $55 off your first box. And like I said, I think it's, like when it says a box, it's like it'll come with like 2 to 4 meals or whatnot. So chances are you'll probably get like 2 full meals free, I think. And when I say meals, I mean like 2 boxes, which is like 4 meals. So it ends up being affordable, especially like obviously going to the grocery store and doing a full shop is always going to be the most affordable way to like cooking things from bulk and all that. But this is like for you, instead of ordering in, Uber Eats, instead of going out to eat, this is like a really great way, and also too a little more nutritious, I would say, than probably like whatever you order in, depending on where you order from. So it's more affordable in that sense. So $55 off your first Green Chef box using the code in the show notes. Or if you want to try HelloFresh, you can actually get $100 off your first box. So, but that's like, I think you'd have to get a lot of meals, but I think you could probably spread that out. I'm not 100% sure, but definitely just use the links and see what you can get out of them. And if I can save you $155 on food, I'm excited about it. So $55 savings for Green Chef and $100 savings for HelloFresh. So use those links in the show notes to get access to those. So, okay, so we talked about Green Chef. Now let's move on to HelloFresh. So HelloFresh, you can set your preferences. And so it's not so much you get based off of the category, but you can, I guess in that sense, it's a little bit more flexible where you can put in many preferences. And then those will, based off of your preferences, those are going to be those things that are going to kind of pop out for you. So automatically, both with Green Chef and HelloFresh, you kind of get like 3 suggestions of your meals for the week. And then you could always swap them out. You just have to remember to do it before they ship it out. And depending on where you're located, like they might ship it every Wednesday or every Tuesday or every Thursday, and then you get it every Friday or every Saturday, and you can rearrange those dates. I think based off location, you can't be, it's not like too flexible. Like I think because where I'm at, my district, it's like Green Chef gets delivered on Fridays and HelloFresh gets delivered on Wednesdays. I don't know if you can actually change that delivery day based off of where you live, but that's definitely something to think about. And for me, it's pretty great because I often will have food prepared, in the beginning of the week, but then Wednesday comes around, I'm like, I don't really feel like cooking. And then the weekend, it's like, it kind of gets me by because I might also go out to eat, but it's kind of sometimes it's like Friday nights, instead of going out, we might just like make a meal. So it's pretty great. But anyways, so HelloFresh preferences. You can do everything from meat and veggies, just veggie, family friendly, calorie smart, quick and easy, portion control. Pork free. Quick and easy, pork free, pescatarian, and then premium. So premium is more like not going to be the most nutritious. It's going to be more like decadent. It's going to be more like I want to say like a scallop risotto or something, like something that you would get and enjoy at a restaurant, but it might not be the most nutritious, but it's still going to be delicious. And like I said, it's still going to be, every once in a while, it's okay to have something that's more indulgent. And then you just kind of balance it out with the rest of your meals throughout the week and all that. So there's a little bit more flexibility, I would say, with HelloFresh. The calorie smart option sounds like a good idea, but the thing that I have it with some of these meal kits is sometimes we get so caught up in the calorie, you want just the lowest calorie option, but then you're not satisfied and you end up overeating later. So I would caution you by trying to automatically always go with the thing that's lowest in calories and really ask yourself, like, what is going to satisfy me? What am I in the mood for? And, what's going to truly fill me up, So that's the only thing I would be a little bit cautious about. But it's still good to explore. There might be some really great options there. And in general, both HelloFresh and Green Chef just have like a lot of different options, a lot of variety. And I think you're going to really enjoy them. Now, the other cool thing about HelloFresh is the app that it comes with, it literally has a library of 2,500 recipes, like more than 2,500 recipes. So like I said before, where sometimes when you get like the meal kits and it comes with the step-by-step recipes, you could always just like hang on to them and, put it on your refrigerator or keep it in a drawer. And then the next time you go to the grocery store, you can kind of buy all those ingredients and kind of just rotate and maybe make that one of your staple items. Like I said, the Firecracker Meatballs, I actually haven't made them in a while, but for a long time, they were a staple and I almost can memorize how to prepare it. So I don't even need the recipe thing anymore, but those ingredients now are things that I regularly buy. And so ultimately you want to try to make your life easier, right? Especially if you're on the go and you have lots going on, you want to make Monday nights, Mondays can be chicken, Tuesdays could be steak, Wednesdays could be pork, Thursdays could be flexitarian or fish, Fridays could be pizza, whatever it is, but you don't necessarily have to do that. But when you have kind of your staples and that, usually Tuesdays you do Taco Tuesday and you normally make like shrimp fajitas or something. I'm just like going off a whim right now. It becomes so much easier. And then if you can just get some more flavor into those dishes, you're going to feel more satisfied. And when you're more satisfied, then you don't look after dinner. How many of you probably struggle with eat after dinner, kind of wanting to chomp on something, chew something, swallow, like something you just want something else because you weren't truly satisfied, and your belly might feel full because you ate food, but you didn't really eat what you genuinely wanted, and there was no flavor to it, right? So what I love about these meal kits is that they give the food flavor and they teach you how you can have a very balanced, nutritious, nutrient-dense meal without feeling like you're deprived, and it's just, I think they're pretty great. So they're definitely something that you could incorporate regardless of whatever plan you're on. Like I said, there's lots of flexibility. So whether you're trying to lose weight, gain weight, maintain your weight, there's ways for you to utilize it within your planner program. We personally, as the dietitians, myself and my dietitians on the team, have had clients incorporate this in all certain types of plans and really just make it work for them. Because at the end of the day, we want to simplify your life. We want you to enjoy what you eat. And we want to make it flexible enough that you can, learn how to eat, and whether that be on your own, following a meal kit, or, deciding to order in. We want to make sure that you're kind of set for all of those circumstances and knowing how to navigate them and still being able to reach and achieve your goals. So I think you're going to really like these. So if you've never tried them before, go to the links in my show notes to give them a try. If you haven't already bought Once Upon a Diet, go get the book. Thank you so much if you have. And I want to hear your feedback. I want to hear your feedback about the podcast. I want to hear your feedback about the book. I want to connect in however way you need me. Just reach out to me. I'm here for you. I'm appreciative of you. I love your support, and I want to support you too. So message me on Facebook or Instagram at tips_with_Tony with your questions, your comments, your feedback. I'm here. All right, that is it for me today. Thank you so much for listening. As always, I'm Tony Marinucci, your registered dietitian, helping you get healthy one bite at a time.